Hey guys, Jason here. Welcome to the shop. All right, let me see if I can give you guys some pointers on how to replace your traction pad on your used up, worn out traction pad on your paddleboard or even surfboard. All right, so here we have our replacement traction pad. So, it's going to be the same one that we put down on our boards. We use a real high quality traction pad material, and the film is really high quality. It's a film that, it's actually not a normal film, double-sided adhesive film that we use to stick these down, and I'll go over that a bit more when we get to applying this thing. But we tested all types, and I'm actually looking at the rolls of different options that we have back there, things that we've tested back there, and it's a matter of finding the material or the right type of film that adheres to both a very flat, hard surface as well as a very porous surface of the traction pad material. So anyways, this film, it really sticks. However, it can come up, especially back here at the tail. Sometimes the corners will, start to peel if, something gets wedged underneath of them. If something hits back here real hard, you can pop one of these up. Hey, actually, that's another point. If all you have wrong with your traction pad is just these little tail sections coming up, does not necessarily mean you have to replace the entire thing, even if it's a corner peeling or whatever. What I would do is, all right, so here's some masking. This is 1/4 inch. For this repair, I would use thicker than 1/4 inch, but just tape around that area. Get some JB Weld, or I'm sorry, not JB Weld, Weldwood contact cement. Weldwood contact cement, and I say Weldwood, it could be any type of contact cement. Weldwood is just really popular. You can find it at Ace Hardware, Walmart's carries it, Home Depot's. Anyways, just get some contact cement and you can stick that back down. Just with contact cement, it can be messy. It's really sticky and gooey and yellow, and can be ugly. So use masking tape. Mask off the edge of the traction pad, because if you get it on that porous foam, it's not coming up very easily, at least. And then on the board itself, rubbing alcohol actually will do a pretty good job of cleaning it off. But mask as much as you can. Save yourself that hassle of having to get sticky, gooey contact cement off your board or traction pad. And then just stick it back down, and that will be permanent as long as you do it right. So yeah, contact cement keeps these down extremely well. So another big point is, if it starts to peeling, put it back down as soon as possible before it becomes worse, or if it becomes so bad, and then these can tear off, and if it tears off, you might lose it or whatever, and then then you're looking at possibly replacing the entire traction pad or a section of the traction pad, which again, if these tear off, it looks real bad, and you only have to replace a section of the traction pad. Don't necessarily mess with the whole entire thing. You can just kind of match the new traction pad. You'll end up having to buy the entire traction pad, but just match. Save yourself the work, or you can replace the whole thing if you want. But save yourself the work potentially, and just cut a section, or use like this section. There's these holes, lines, grooves, whatever, in our traction pad already. Maybe just replace this back section, or maybe just replace the the tail section, and then keep this stuff around in case you need it later. Don't toss it. Okay, so let's see. Take this off your board. First thing you need to do is get this old traction pad off your board. Some tools that I use around here, and you'll probably end up having to use. So I just got a mud scraper, drywall mud scraper here. This actually has kind of been sharpened from years and years of scraping, scraping different things, cleaning off tables, whatever. So we scrape, so it's pretty well sharpened, which makes it a good tool for taking these off. So what you're going to want to do is just find a corner, and you can start peeling, or you probably already have a corner peeling, which is why you're doing this in the first place. Start peeling, and then just kind of work it and peel it back. Try to keep as much intact as possible. Try to take off big sections at a time, versus little sections, because if you can just get it all peeling at once, get big sections, that's gonna save you a lot of headache, a lot of time, and a lot of headache. So another tip, if you can't get the surface of the board completely clean as you are just kind of, going along, you might need an actual razor blade, a knife. This is a window scraper, or you can use a utility knife with a real sharp blade if you get stuck in any particular spots. Let's see, the surface of the board doesn't necessarily have to be completely free of the old adhesive or old traction pad material. It has anything loose, absolutely, it's got to come off the board, because that's not going to help, you know, your board or the new traction pad stick to the board, adhere very well. But if it is stuck, you know, if you've got old pieces of traction pad, just, you know, and also another factor is it can't, you know, it can't be thick enough where it's going to actually show through the new pad. You know, try to get chunks or whatever else off, but it doesn't, my point is, it doesn't have to be completely spotless or clean, because that old stuff is stuck. New stuff, and use a little common sense there, but new stuff should stick right to it, and you know, it should adhere pretty darn good. So don't worry about getting it too completely cleaned off. Just anything loose, make sure you clean that off. Okay, so got it. First step, get all that off. Second step, you're going to have to deal with the handle hole. So you could put the new pad down, deal with the handle hole later. Some people do that. Some companies do that. I prefer to deal with that, especially on our boards. I prefer to deal with the handle hole before I put the new pad on. You know, and there's different types of handles. If you have an old like FCS, it's just a rectangular box. That's pretty darn easy to find after you have the new pad on. You can find that and just cut that out simply. Ours is a little bit more difficult because, you know, they kind of have rounded edges. There isn't a real hard edge for you to, you know, follow with a X-Acto knife or razor blade after the fact, or rotozip is what we would use for, you know, for things like these plugs or vent holes. All right, plugs and vent holes, leave them until after. Put it all on. You don't have to worry about those holes until after you have the new pad on. But the handle hole. Okay, so you got to find the center of the new traction pad. All right, so. And actually, all right, so kind of skipped a step. You need to, these traction pads, as you buy one, if you buy one off our website, we're going to ship it to you. It's going to be a full pad. So it's not necessarily going to be cut to the size of your board. There are certain boards where we use the full entire pad. You know, Feng Shui's, that all-around model, it's a bigger, wider model, will use the full entire traction pad. Other models, you know, your drop rail scuds, your race boards, that's, you know, those narrower boards, you're definitely going to have to cut, do some cutting. Even this board that I'm working on here, a Barracuda, it's a pretty narrow board, so full-size traction pad, you know, definitely goes over the old traction pad. So cut that down. You know, you can trace it. You can trace the outline of your board. That's pretty darn easy to do. And a very common thing. We use straight lines, just sort of an aesthetic thing that HYDRUS has been doing ever since we started. Kind of gives our traction pad a different look, just straight lines. So anyways, cut to the outline, and then you're going to have to find the center of the pad here. All right, let's see. So some tools that you might need for that. We got a straight edge here, just kind of a yardstick, and then you know, square. We use, not to brag, but ours might be bigger. This is what I use in the shop. All right, so I would use this, and then I'll use this to find, you know, to take measurements. And I mean, there's different things we put on different boards, but anyways, this is the main tool that I'll use, just a long straight edge. Find the center of the board. So the tip of the pad is obviously centered. You know, draw a line in between these grooves here to find the center, or you can bring it all the way back to the tail kick here and just find the center of that. Draw a line, and then, okay, so okay, to find or to trace the handle on, especially on one of our boards. Okay, so what I will do is, all right, and this is dealing with the handle. If you are able to peel this traction pad up and it comes up and this isn't distorted, you know, the hole here isn't distorted, you could use that as a template and just trace that onto the new pad. Otherwise, what I do is I'll just take a piece of paper here. I don't do this on everyone because we have templates made for our boards here in the shop, but you know what you're going to need to do is you know, just put a piece of paper down and then just trace, you know, just find the lip here and trace along it. You can use a piece of chalk or whatever, and you know, just trace that, and then you're going to transfer that onto the new traction pad. Okay, so let's see. Once you have that cut out, you got the old pad off, got the handle dealt with, you got the outline of the pad cut to size and shape. All right, so to put it down, here's what I do to stick the traction pad down. Get it all lined up. Quarter inch masking tape. I use a lot of this when I'm putting on traction pads. It just helps me to, mark like center points of things, like the tip of where it's going to go. I can use it to mark the center points of tails. So masking tape. We go through a lot of masking tape of various widths here in the shop. Let's see. Okay, so you're gonna get. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get it lined up on my board where I want it. Exactly where I want it, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to start marking. I'm going to mark the tip. That's the length, and then I'm going to mark, some width. I'm going to give myself some pointers of, the width of the board, and just make sure it's going to fit back on there exact. And then what I do is I will take something heavy. This is what we use in the shop here, and I'll put it, maybe I don't know, about here. Just something heavy. This is a can full of, I think this one's full of like nuts and bolts, really heavy metal stuff. We have another one back there that we use that might be 50 pounds, about this size. It's like full of shotgun shot pellets. So put that there. And point of that is so you can't, it's more difficult to move it. You're going to be careful not to move it, but, if you don't have that there, it's going to slide really easily, especially on the slick surface of the board. So what I'm going to do then is I'll start at the tail, and you peel this adhesive film. It's going to come up in layers. I'm going to peel that adhesive film off, or the paper backing at least, and then and then I'm going to start sticking that where it goes. Get that in place. Just going to tack it in place lightly. Just make sure it's stuck good enough. You're not gonna, it's like, don't tighten all the bolts on, something you're putting together until the thing's done, so you can make sure it's how you want it. Same deal, don't press it down, because then it's pretty much stuck. It's gonna be real difficult to get it back up. Lightly touch it down at first until you get it all on, then come back. Okay, so get that on, and then, okay, so actually, yes, I'm gonna get the tail section on, and I'm just gonna peel all that tape. I'm gonna peel this, I'm sorry, the backing here. I'm going to peel all of this, maybe back to, I don't know, here. Just give myself a good section there, and then, so maybe it's to there, and then I'm going to take this off. That's set. That's in place. And then I am going to come to the tip here and peel this back, and then I'm going to peel more of it. Okay, then I'm going to have a lot more of it peeled off, and then I'm going to be real careful, because this is all sticky at this point, and I'm going to have to deal with the handle hole. So that's going to be stuck. Here, let me put this on here just to emulate it being stuck for the moment. And then you're going to have to, so I'm going to be applying pressure, not letting it stick where I don't want it to stick to the board, but I'm going to be watching that handle hole, and you can line it up with the handle hole, and then you can just kind of work, the foam, and the foam is pliable, it's foam, so you can, work it, and you can, get it perfectly or perfect enough around that handle hole, and then, stick it around there, and you can move that, and it's going to save, even if you kind of miscut, or your cut is a little wider, that you make a hole that's a little bigger, you can save that, because the foam is going to is pliable, it's going to stretch, and you can conform it to, the shape. All right, so then I'm going to very carefully stick that down, and then I'm going to very carefully, I've got that masking tape showing where the center is, where I want this tip here to line up with. I also would have, little pieces of masking on the sides here just to make sure that it's all lining up. And then I'm going to stick that down, and then what I do is I'm just going to run my fingers lightly right down there just to get it all stuck. And then I'm going to come back, check it all out, make sure it's all good, and then you start from the middle and you push it out. Okay, so like we use a vinyl floor roller. It's about, I don't know, that wide, and we'll go and we'll press it down. We'll press it down starting from the middle, pressing the air out because there's going to be a lot of air trapped in there. So press from the middle out. Make sure you really press around the handle so it doesn't peel back up. You know, it is pressure, let's see, pressure sensitive in the way that the more pressure you put on that adhesive film, the better it's going to adhere long term. So you're going to really want to press it. You do not want to leave any air bubbles whatsoever. So air bubbles are bad because when you get the board in the sun, you know, if you have any air trapped in sections of the pad here, they're going to balloon up because that air is going to get hot, you know, sitting out in the sun, and then it's going to expand. And you know, if you see that, catch them right away before you get water under there or anything else under there, and then it'll stick right back down. But you know, you don't want that. You want to be careful, especially when you're applying it. You got the tools out, so make sure you're getting all the air out, pressing from the inside out to the edges. If you do get air trapped, which you will, we always do, you're just going to want to be careful and come back. And we use a syringe here, but you can use a real sharp utility knife and just go along and poke. You know, poke them out, press them. You know, I don't know, you might have 5 for the entire thing. If you're careful, you might have just a few or a couple, but just press them and then, you know, work them out. Make sure you get all the air out. We use a vinyl roller. You can even, you know, a beer bottle, wine bottle, soda bottle, or, you know, palms of your hand. You know, just press it with the palms of your hand. Just be real careful. Go around the entire thing. So this step's real important. We use a syringe. You can grab a syringe from well, your local drug dealer, I guess. Just kidding. You know, D&B Supply. You know, the vet clinics, they'll have them for, you know, shots that you're giving your animals. You know, Walgreens, you could probably buy them there. Anyways. Syringe, just like an animal syringe, whatever, and then we'll press it into the bubble, and you can actually draw the air from that bubble out, and then we'll press it out like that. What else can I share here? I think that might cover it. I think we're good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helps. Surfboards. All right. Whew, almost forgot. Had this board laying over there so I wouldn't forget. Almost forgot anyways. That was close. All right, so surfboards, we have these pads. They're completely different. You know, if you have a surfboard, you're only going to need this. You don't need a full replacement traction pad. We sell these. You know, they're pretty self-explanatory on how to put on. These are the ones that we put on our surfboards, or you can get them from FCS. You know, there's various places online that you can find traction pads or tail pieces. If you want one of ours, we should have them in stock. Hit us up, or you know, they're going to be somewhere else on our website under the accessories section of our site. But there we go. Okay, I covered that. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope this video helps. We love our customers. Get out there and enjoy the water.